Hey everybody, this is Jay Henry. In this video, I am going to create a new GitHub repository, set up an SSH key as a deployment key on it, and then I'm going to transfer a submodule from another repository into this repo just to keep things organized. I've got this one big repo that has this submodule in it, and I know I'm going to use it for other things, so I'm going to break this submodule out into its own repo so that it can kind of evolve on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to GitHub, and I'm going to create a new repo. I'm going to make it private, but only for the purposes of demonstrating the SSH key deployment key setup. And after that, I'll flip it over to public, so if anybody's interested in taking a look at it, they can. I'll call this Henry Code Vision. Always want to read me. It's a Python project, so I'll add a gitignore for Python, an MIT license. And I'm going to create the repo. And so once this is created, I'll copy the path that we'll use to clone it using SSH. Go into my code directory, and I'm going to do a git clone with this address. Now, this should fail because it's a private repo and I have no authentication set up whatsoever, so should get a warning, yep, don't have those permissions. So what I need to do is create a new SSH key that we can then add as a deploy key. So I'll use SSH keygen. I will give it a name, home, Lord. It's my old username from Jimmy Neutron, and I'll call this Henry Code Vision. And I don't need a passphrase. Perfect. So it created the key. So what I want to do now is copy the public key. So it's a public-private key pair. I want to copy the public key into GitHub as a deployment key. Leave the private key here. So let's say Henry Code vision.pub. If you left the .pub off there, it would show you your private key, but obviously you never want to expose that to anybody. And this is the private key, or the public key, excuse me, that I'm going to add to GitHub. So I'll come over here into the settings. I'll go to deploy keys. I will add this deploy key. Make sure let's say that's fine. It's just formatting. I'll allow write access and code vision and then ultra lord desktop, so I can know where this key actually lives. And I think that should do it. Yeah, that should do it. Good, we've added that, and then so now if we come over and try to clone this again, and we should see it here. Good, so it's cloned the new repo down, which is pretty bare, but we're actually going to take some code from this directory and copy it over here. And I could use the command line to do that. I could go in here and copy all the files I want over here. I'm going to do it the easy way, and I'm going to use Visual Studio to help me. So this is the this directory here, and you'll see there's a submodule jhenrycode.vision. It's not technically a submodule, it's really just a directory, but I've been treating it as a module, and so I'm going to break it out into its own thing. I'm going to come over here, and you'll see that the project we just created has a gitignore license and a readme, but nothing else. So one thing I want to do, which is copy part of the gitignore that I have over here into our new gitignore, and I have to change it slightly. What this does is it tells it, in this project we have data. We have raw data, which are MP4 videos, and then we have training data, which we have taken those MP4s and split them out into individual PNGs, and I don't want to put all the PNGs under source control. That's a big bloat and waste of space. And because we've got scripts here to convert them, we can always get them back. So I'm just going to make sure that our new git ignore does not try to add all those PNGs. So if I go into our new repository, just make sure that that stuff's there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the files that are in the old project, and I'm just going to copy and paste them. I'll come back later and clean this up and actually delete this directory out of here. But for now, I just want to get this stuff under source control. So another ls, we see that it's there. We do git status, and we'll see that we've modified the git ignore, but we've also got some things that we need to add. And hopefully when I do the git add here, it won't add the PNGs, because that would take forever. So well, let's find out. Add, we'll do git add all. This should take just a second because the videos have a little heft to them. And then if we do another git status, okay, good. It added the videos, did not add the PNGs. It obviously added all of our source files. So I think at this point I'm going to do a commit. And whenever I make a commit, I always try to, make my commit message contain what I'm doing, but also why I'm doing it, so that, in 6 months I can remember why I made this particular change. So I'm going to say, moving vision module to its own repo for organizational purposes. And I think that's a good commit message. And then if we git push origin master, this should take all of our changes. Because the deploy key has write privileges, we're able to push these all up to GitHub. Again, it'll take just a second probably because of the videos. But once we get them all up there, we'll verify that they made it up there, that the commit messages are there, and then we'll flip this thing to a public repo. One note on pushing to master, like normally I would never push directly to master. I would usually create a feature branch and make a change there and then merge it into master. Right now I'm the only developer working on this, so it's fine. But even when you're a sole developer, if you've got some kind of CI/CD pipeline where things in master are going directly to production, it's still a really good idea to create a feature branch and then do a pull request. And you know what? Well, why don't we do that? Let's do that. So I'm going to git checkout. I'm going to create a new branch, and I'm going to call it feature branch. Because why not? So I'm going to make a change here because there's nothing to commit right now. And let's say we update the README. This project has been moved from a submodule of another project so it can evolve independently. I think that's how you spell it. And actually, I've got some good stuff in the README over here that I probably want to... Yeah, let's go ahead and copy all this over. This is good stuff for the README. And then we'll put that in there. And then if we do a git status again, we should see our changes. We'll commit, copying over README contents so we don't lose context. And then I'm going to git push origin, and then what branch did we create? Sorry, feature branch, right. Git push origin feature branch. And this will push a separate branch up to Git. And if we actually refresh this, GitHub's pretty cool. It should tell us. So we've got code. It should tell us, yeah, we've got a new feature branch, so maybe we want to create a pull request. And so pull requests are just a way to, to merge branches in an organized fashion and give other people visibility into it. So if there was anybody else on this project, we could add them as a reviewer. They could do they could take a look at our code and do a review and make sure that we really want to merge this into the master branch. So I'll create the pull request. It'll show up under pull request. If we, once we have CI set up, continuous integration, it'll actually, depending on the provider, it'll show the status of the continuous integration build here, and if there are any failures, it'll tell us that we can't merge. But right now we're just going to merge it in. We're going to confirm the merge. I always like to delete feature branches once I'm done with them, so that they don't clutter up our repo. You can always get them back if you want. But then we go over to our code, and we'll see that we have this commit, which affected all these files, and then our feature branch commit, and they're all on the master branch. So I think the only thing left to do is flip this thing over to public. Make it a public repo so that anybody that's interested can take a look at it, play around with it. And I'll leave the URL for this repo in the description in case anybody's interested. But that's it. We set up a new repo, set up the deployment key, pushed some commits in, and then created a feature branch, did a pull request, and got it all into master. I think next time we'll continue working on this project. I think the next step is probably to add a service layer that will allow us to take some images that our model has not seen before and make some predictions. But that'll be next time. If you found any of this useful, please like and subscribe below. If I did anything wrong, or that you think there's a better way to do it, please let me know in the comments so that I can learn things. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.